welcome to our 158th episode of Gorilla Radio. I'm Joe Caprino. We got Mike Reiser here. Almost had a special guest today, but next week we're going to have a special guest. He may or may not hail from south of Indianapolis. Does not need a microphone, just as a heads up. So plan your next Monday accordingly. So how's it going, Mike?
Good. Just getting some rankings updates. We posted to the board, which is really cool. Always a good time. So you get a couple more updates when you get that for the people that didn't buy the magazine, just kind of weight changes and stuff like that. And we actually did a quick update really quick after we released it yesterday because the way it runs, like it has to be the numbers. I didn't change the numbers at one of the weights, and then it got fixed.
Yes,
So,
we can make quick fixes like that, and a little bit of fun in our ranking. Basically, we had 6 new number ones, but kind of really about 3-ish. It was one of those where the middle weights, they're all the new weights, so we're all kind of trying to figure out where everyone's going, and like, oh, he's wrestled 52 the last 2 years. He's probably gonna go 57. No, he's going 150. Things like that. So, I guess you want to go over, our new number ones.
Yeah. New number ones?
First new number one, we had Hockaday was there. Lavelle's down to 38. He made 38 twice this week.
Yeah, he already wrestled 38. Going into, that's a tough weight. Kind of still waiting to see where Ryan's going to be at. I heard he's out with an injury right now. Hopefully it's not like a season-ending injury, but I guess he got hurt in football. I don't follow. Even if whether he was or not, I don't follow Newcastle football to know how injured he is. But I think hopefully he can get back. But he'll probably be right in that mix at 38 also, 32, 38. But Lavelle, 38, number one. IPO champ. I know Ison beat him last year, so the top part of that weight's really good.
Yeah. Yes, that should be a pretty good weight. So, yeah, we originally had him there. So, who do we have number one? I just had to make sure my comments were working. There we go. Dave's here. So,
number one originally was Thrine, right? Thrine was their number one.
So, you have Thrine's
number two at 32. I'm just, like I said, I haven't been updated on Newcastle wrestling enough, but I think he's going to be in that mix somewhere. But hopefully, like I said, I think he sustained an injury in football. Hopefully, he can get back. But Lavelle, Ison, Tony Wood, I think in the magazine he was up a weight.
Yes, yeah, we moved back down.
Clinton Shepard, Crown Point, and some of those guys are in spots where it's going to be tough to maneuver. Ison, obviously in a really tough lineup. Shepard in a tough lineup. With Thrine going down. Move down Gavin Whitehead, and then Wesley Smith, who I think is really tough, and then real tough freshman Peyton Hornsby kind of round out that top part of that weight class. But really, really, really interesting to see Lavelle down. I think obviously he's a dynamic wrestler, but that'd be a good weight. I seen someone posted Crown Point for 4.5 over. They're going to take the over on champs, so have the champs coming from Crown Point. I asked on there like who they think. I think we used to be more in the prediction business. We don't really do any predictions as we used to do.
Not many. No.
I would like to know like the 5. So that if it's an over, I want to know the 5. Yeah. 5 champs that they got coming from CP.
5 champs. How many did they have last year? They had
Going,
Goodwin,
Cruz,
and Clark.
Yeah.
So they had 4 last year. Ooh. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So, no, it should be. They have guys like Clinton Shepard are pretty good. He's not gonna make it easy on any of those 3 seniors that are ahead of him or the 2 seniors right behind him. But that's gonna be a tough road to hoe. It should be interesting to watch there. 144 Reese Courtney. He's a new number one because all those guys went down. Yeah, so those guys moved down. Parker Reynolds. We have a real good story on Parker coming out maybe tomorrow. I got to get graphic, and once I get that, so about his recovery and everything, I briefly read it, but it should be pretty good. So
Yeah, and I think I got a little bit of pushback on that also, having Parker that high after losing in the ticket round last year. But not to spoil the article, like he was dealing with some medical stuff that I think impaired his wrestling as it went on.
yeah,
And then like what they ended up finding out, I think made a lot of sense. And like kind of when I was talking to his dad, like what was happening in matches, obviously, is your muscles are constricting, like he was losing some blood flow to his hands. But man, like think about like how like good like a lot of those matches where he was really killing people in the first period and then second period and then as it faded he ended up fading and people are like, oh man, he's gassing or nerves, and now it was like a legit medical thing, and obviously everyone can read about it.
mm-hmm.
And really really tough. So I'm happy to see Parker back on the mat, obviously.
Yeah, that's a real cool story, and it's pretty interesting. You know, just like what he had. It took out probably could have been a future Hall of Fame baseball pitcher. It's taken out
Yeah,
quite a few. So it's something that's not a. It was I know going back and forth with his dad and stuff. I know it was very it was up in the air if he would be able to wrestle again. I mean,
uh,
more or less, they were going to have the surgery to not have anything, because it's better for the quality of life for the
yeah.
next 70 years of his life. He's 15, 16 years old. So,
Yeah, and I think like obviously we knew he was really tough last year, and we put a lot of he's got a lot of national like level wins as a kid, like some guys that are really good nationally. He had some really good wins last year. Um, but I think like even like that, I think him and Courtney was a really good match, like a good series.
mhm.
So like part of the argument was that like Hyvert, him being ahead of Hyvert, right, and then Hyvert had a really good freshman year also. But sometimes it comes down there. But that's a good way to also Courtney, Parker Reynolds, Hyvert, Doster, Dylan Graham was a semifinalist a couple of years ago. Wesley Harper, who 45. He's gonna be at 30 or not. Wesley Harper. I'm thinking of another one. Wesley Harper's tough. I'm thinking Wesley Smith.
Too many
and
Wesleys
then
up in
Jackson.
that area.
And then Jackson Todd made 44 also. So pretty good weight.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that should be a good another good one. That one, Hyver won't
Which Cruz?
see.
Evan Cruz is still in high school. Orlando is at Purdue. He had a really good match.
Yeah, he won two
Uh,
matches this weekend, I believe. Yeah, he wrestled well. Um, what Hybert probably won't see. Doster probably won't have. I don't think Doster will see any. I'm trying to think of. I'm working on the schedules, but so just I mean, obviously Courtney and Reynolds will wrestle probably a couple times. Graham will see possibly Courtney at Al Smith, Harper at Al Smith. So it's just interesting. It's
yeah.
always neat to see when these guys might hit up to kind of get some, you know, be able to see some of those matches early on. So I don't know if we'll see some of the other guys in there mixing it up, but you never know. Hunter May, 150. We originally had
Yep.
him. He was originally a number one at 57.
Yep.
So
And that one's tough, man. Both those guys are really good. Kind of coin flip, Hunter May or Krejcia, both really really tough. Both runners up. Hunter May back at Floyd Central. I've seen someone ask that, back with Sisson at Floyd Central, not at Mater Day this year.
yeah, yeah, he's back in Floyd's knobs, and that should be. You got Michael Major lurking in there, had a good IPO. Czar Walker, I think Walker's one of the sleeper guys that I'm like. He's shown that he can wrestle with anybody in the state, and he's he's one that you can't sleep on. Tommy Gibbs, another one. Um, Dude is tough as nails. Had a ton of good wins
Yeah,
last year, and now, yeah, that's
yeah. Beat Landon Hawkins at ISWA. Beat Hyvert at IPO.
mm-hmm.
Czar Walker spent this summer at Olympic Training Center, so not a bad way to improve your game, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And he's obviously he has his brother who is at Michigan and stuff, so I'm sure there's some help in that area. Him coming home and working with you doesn't hurt you one bit. So yeah, that should be good. Arbery, like state placer there. Christopher Bond was a state qualifier 2 years ago and 30 pounds, 2 years and 30
Yeah.
pounds ago.
And I'm actually like leaning on the side. I bet he might be higher than 150. So I'll have to see.
What's in the water in Munster? Did they get some new restaurants in over there or what? I haven't been
So
over that area for a while.
they do, man, right there on Calumet Ave. Cafe Borgia, some nice stuff. You got Bombers over there, some of the best barbecue in the state.
Oh yeah, yeah. They have some good food over there. I always go over there and like, whoa, we'll be there in a couple weeks, few weeks.
Eric McGill's favorite, the Great Munster Gyro.
Oh yeah, got Munster Donut. Munster Donut's some good donuts. So
Yeah, Munster donut is a good donut.
yes. So yeah, that should be a good one. That's another good weight class. Then Mitchell Betch is the new 157. Uh, King of the Road. This is going to be a wide open weight class. I think Cashman had a um, real good IPO. Lost to I guess one of the few matches. Silas Foster beat him last week at the John Hurley 6'3". So Foster jumps up pretty high.
That was the one I had the wrong. So like on the spreadsheet, I had to change the numbers when we posted, or just go right back. And he was a 12, and that's a huge win over Anthony Cashman. Bra Bender's really good. I know talking with Steve. Steve said that he's looking really, really good. Joe Clark, the best donut. Dude, you ain't lying. It's a good donut.
Yeah.
They have these new donuts in the area. They're called like this place that maybe it might be a chain like Parlor Donuts.
Yeah,
I heard they're
we
really
got one around here.
yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, they're not a typical donut. They're almost like I'd almost compare them to like a croissant, in that they're fluffy like that. They're not like a donut that's just gonna weigh in your stomach. Just sit in your stomach for like 4 days. So if you guys want to talk food, I went and so just we'll tie this into wrestling, okay? So I mailed out probably about 80 some of the physical magazines tonight. I ran out of mailers, so the others that are ordered, you should be getting notifications that they got shipped. Some of them will be shipped. Will actually be put in the mail tomorrow. I got Amazon overnight getting me what I need. So, but right beside our post office where I went to drop it off is a Dirty Dough Dirty Dough, which is a cookie place, and they have they're like cookies that are kind of like filled with stuff. They're really good. They are really good. I can go bring you one, and eat one on here. It's called Dirty Dough. I assume it's like all these cookie places are supposed to be popular now, and so yeah, that was pretty good. Nice little I don't know what kind I had. It was real good. So yeah, but Parlor Donuts. I like those. We had those, and yeah, they don't sit in your stomach. They're like kind of light, but they're really good. And yeah, so yeah,
Nice. They want to start doing like every time we do a trip to a different place, we'll get a donut in the area.
yes, yes.
Yeah, we're getting some crumbles over here. Brandon Barton. Oh, I gotta get Brandon Barton some gear, man. I forgot.
I actually did some inventory. I'm gonna probably put some stuff up by this weekend. So this weekend I actually counted some of the stuff and made sure I made sure I had the right numbers, and actually had a few sales. Joni Kuntz got a couple shirts, so her and I assume the youngest Kuntz are going to be sporting some nice IndianaMat gear pretty soon.
We're just going over the number ones, Joe. Eric Thomas Eric doesn't want to hear about donuts right now. They can't have donuts in the house right now. That's what I heard.
So yeah. Vargo doesn't. Vargo said if you beat the number one, you just become number one.
That's what I've seen, man. I don't know if I agree with that. I know that there were some of results that I was like, oh, let me make sure, let me check some of these results, because if guys towards the middle or bottom lose, you got to see who's beating them, and because it's just it's a stacking event, right?
Yeah.
Wrestler A beats wrestler B, but wrestler A has losses to these guys, and it's all over, man. It's tough.
Yeah, I am in a group chat with some people that are not involved with Flow. I'll just tell you that much. And we were talking about it, and I'm like, at maybe 125, maybe you do that. but when you have two or three guys ahead of him, like Fix and
Yeah.
um, those guys that are right there, and Nagao and them, you can't jump them that high. That was the worst part of it was, and is everyone on their team just double triple down. Yeah, this is the best. Yeah, yeah, and they all backed him. And I know like even like we'll talk about rankings and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you'll ask me about something, I'm like, I don't know. I go run with it. I don't, I'm not. Maybe I'm not 100%
But
feeling that
what do you
Mitchell
think our
Batch is number
biggest?
one, but you know
We, we
what?
we like to call those overreactions. You know.
Yes,
What do you think our biggest overreaction was?
yeah.
I don't know. I had to go back and really think. Like, what was the biggest overreaction ranking like I ever did? I don't know if I've ever taken anyone from unranked to number one.
No, no,
But maybe like if it was like something like out of state, and we'll get to that point coming up real quick.
yeah,
And uh,
yeah,
yeah, everyone has to be ranked number one going forward. Um,
yeah.
but I mean, I think it's like one of those things like to go off like completely off the ranking to number one is tough.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty drastic, and yeah, it'll work itself out, but it's also an overreaction, and at the same time, you know what? Sometimes not everyone on the same team agrees with the right. Heck, you have you have uh, Lavelle over Thrine, and Howie has Thrine over Lavelle.
Yeah, so like I had to explain some of that too.
Yeah,
So sometimes I get like different semi-state ones. Like, why is this happening? It's like, I don't know. You got to ask that guy. I like that we have different opinions. I think
yeah,
that's like there's times, and this happens a lot, that the East Chicago semi-state rankings are different than the state rankings, and I do both of them.
yes,
Um,
yes. He has
but
multiple personalities.
yeah, I mean, like sometimes I think the fit just looks different at the semi-state level as the state level.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe like it's a little bit easier pathway, or but I think like I like that we have some. I like to go through, especially now. These are like as close to the rankings like being equal as they'll probably be all year.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
generally, I like to like go and make sure I'm not like overloaded one way or the other. Like within reason. Like if you have six really good guys in one spot and I don't change it, then it's tough. But I try to be pretty fair because I think this is one of those things.
mm-hmm.
And after that, you go with like now it's going to be all results based. There's no more opinion on it. Like, and people are like, well, that's your opinion. Like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, like I think a lot of people probably have the opinion that Jake Hockaday is a number one, right? I'm just using something that's very obvious.
Yeah,
Like that's easy. I like when everyone tells me like, oh, I could have picked every state champ last year. I get that shit. I get that all the time. I almost said a cuss word. I've only cussed in here like twice. I could have picked every state champ last year. Should have asked me. I knew every state champ. Oh, you seen Thrine beating Frazier, huh? That's the one you had? You had that one? You had the pick'ems? Because we went back and looked at like 200 pick'ems, and no one had that one.
yeah, yes, exactly.
Maybe one person.
Well, the person who says that didn't do the pickums. You know
Yeah.
that, right?
Well, and I think that's like one of those things that people say, and like that's fine. Um, I think it's like one of those things that people do. But I mean, I guess we got off a tangent there.
Yeah.
57 is a good weight. I think it'll be interesting to see where people are moving around in there. Hearing some injuries in that weight too, which is tough. Hopefully, not as many. Some early injuries that have been kind of interesting. As it goes on, we'll start changing some of the rankings and pulling guys out. And I think let's get back to donuts. 65. I think Reinhardt was one there. I think that's also one that's going to be tough. Reinhardt or Kressel, I think it's a 1A, 1B. Kressel we talked about last week. State champ out of South. Is it South Dakota or North Dakota?
North Dakota. North.
One of the Dakotas.
They should just combine anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, Duke Myers there. Man, that's gonna be a fun weight class at Al Smith. You got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, and 12.
Pretty good.
15. So yeah, should be good on. Should be a real good
And
weight class there.
16.
Yeah, that's gonna be a
It's
fun
pretty
one.
good.
That's gonna be a fun one to see. So I'm always looking forward to these matches to see when these guys hit, when we're gonna start seeing some shakeups in the rankings and stuff. That kind of that's always fun to see. Seeing what out team state or any other. Uh, Luckily on IndianaMat, you just go to the this week tab and you can click and see who all the top wrestlers are at a tournament. Obviously, they're not always going to be in the same or the right weight classes and stuff, but it's a good way to get a little bit of a preview of what's to come there.
Steve's done a really good job with Dallas Smith, man, just in getting good teams in there and just continuing to stack. 75, new number one. Brenton Russell, semifinalist last year, Ward Central. Usually his uncle's in here. I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
Um, Aiden Costello, 2. Kenny Harden, 3. Chase Leach, 4. That's a good weight. 5, Braxton Russell. So that's a pretty solid group up top. We took Ben Smith out. I heard that he's not going to be at Crown Point. And, I mean, maybe he will be, but until I think we see him out there, I'm going to probably hold him off the site, or not the site, the rankings until I go there.
You can ban him from the site.
No, not yet. I don't know. Maybe I can. I never banned anybody, but maybe I do have that ability. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a pretty wide open weight class, and there's some pretty good guys in there that should be. That one's. I could definitely see possibly some people from 65 maybe going up. I know some of them probably play football, and these weight classes we might see a little bit of shifting, and especially now we haven't not very many teams have wrestled, so we're not sure what where some of these guys really are yet, and we'll find that out fairly soon. So
Yeah. 190, still number one, Gunnar Henry. I did see, I was watching some track wrestling. Thank you to everybody that uses track wrestling, honestly.
yes, thank you.
I really do enjoy going through and watching some of the results, seeing that stuff. It makes this a lot easier, especially when you have so many teams spread across the state. I seen that Portage was wrestling Crown Point Varsity 2, and they had Tegan Newell at 190. I asked Bill, like, oh, you guys bumping Tegan up to 190 now? I mean, he's probably tall enough for 190.
Yeah.
And I don't think he caught the joke of that. So, but I don't think Tegan Newell will be at 190. But that was just one of the things I threw in there. That's a good weight too. That's a really good weight.
Yeah, it is. Henry.
Someone said
Klauser, Freeman
get 75.
Yeah.
Someone posted on the board.
Oh yeah. That the really cool thing about 90 is you get all those guys they're kind of different wrestling styles. Henry's kind of he just does basic, he's pretty solid in all positions. Pinola's just a grinder. He's gonna be in your face for 6 minutes. Klauser a little bit more athletic, than Freeman, pretty athletic. So it's gonna be interesting, especially kind of seeing these guys at 190. Should be an interesting weight class all year long. You got some guys mixed in that are from Rossville. You don't usually see Rossville, Kokomo,
in the national rankings.
Yeah.
He was in the national rankings, right?
Yeah, he had a pretty good Super 32. Either he made day 2. I think he might have made the blood round, if I'm not mistaken. And so he got pushed into the flow rankings. I don't know if he's still in there. I haven't checked. So, we got some Doster on Doster crime here. So yeah, should be a good weight class. A lot of guys, some are still playing football. I know. It sounds like Coach Swain's getting his football guys a week earlier than he usually gets them. So I'm sure
I know, man. Wild. Shout out to Crown Point football winning the semi-state, man.
Yeah,
I think it's like I don't know if this is the first time for Crown Point, but I know it's like one of the last time in 20 years that Northwest Indiana sent a team to the biggest class. Yeah. And then Ben Davis, shout out to Ben Davis knocking off Center Grove. Wild, man.
Yeah, that was last year was the first time Northeast Indiana sent a 6A when
Really?
went. So just give you some heads up there. But yeah, Crown Point beat Westfield. Ben Davis
Overtime.
over both of those games. Ben Davis over Center Grove, which was pretty surprising. Snyder and Decatur Central. Decatur Central usually you got Decatur Central and Bloomington South. I didn't never realized. I guess I don't know what type of program Bloomington South has, but obviously making it semi-state. Northwood, they usually have some solid wrestlers. East Central, they're gonna probably have some good wrestlers. Chatard.
Those are like those are two of the bigger semi. Both 6A games went to overtime.
Yeah.
Crown Point and Westfield went to overtime, and then Ben Davis, Center Grove. I think Center Grove came from behind to tie it up late, and Westfield came from behind to tie it up. But I think East Central and who's East Central behind?
New Pal. They played New
Pal.
They beat New Pal
I think
49-0.
Yeah, pretty. Those are the two of the bigger wins for that 4A or 3A.
Yeah, Chatard and Heritage Hills both have a lot of wrestlers. On there, I know Heritage Hills. We have pretty much, 170 and up. I think is ranked from their lineup. So
yeah,
North Posey and Southmont, 2A. North Posey's always pretty tough, and Southmont has. I think they are in the 1A team state, if I'm not mistaken. Then Adams Central, they will be. They always have about 13 or 14 wrestlers play football, so they're going to be in the state finals for. It seems like they've made it for like 6 straight years. I'm sure our resident Adams County fans can correct me out because I know I'm wrong with that one, but I don't know how they haven't gotten bumped up in classes, but maybe it's because I think they might have lost to South Adams at sectional, so that kind of knocked them down. So
man, we're gonna get a donut bracket for real. Munster Donut #1, man. Like that's gonna someone's got to out debate me on that. They're making chop. These are not even. Will Clark still #1 at 215. Paul Clark still #1 at 285.
Yes.
Dude, Will Clark killed. He's really good on the football field. Just kind of watching some of the highlights and stuff. Killed it, man.
Yeah.
I think Jacob Jones, who he's going to challenge for the lineup when he gets back. He had a really good game for Crown Point too.
I saw some highlights with Jones, and I think, did he score a touchdown or had something? I saw some video like Jacob Jones, did something like, oh, there he is. So I think we only have one Jacob Jones this year. I think the one from Sheridan I know the one from Garrett did. I think didn't the one from Sheridan graduate?
I believe so.
Good. I'm glad we have one Jacob Jones this year.
Yeah, that's a real interesting thing when you have multiple people with the same name.
Yes. Yeah. So and heavyweight should be some good matches there. You got Paul Clark, Brady Beck, McNutt.
Yeah, that all same semi-state. All could be regional champs. That makes it pretty tough.
Yeah. And then at 215, Kendricks and Brandon Johnson already wrestled. They would be former. Oh, they're going to still be in the same regional, aren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, they will. Yes, they were. Okay, yes, it's on the spreadsheet. So yeah, they will see each other at regional again, and a couple other times, I'm sure. So Johnson beat Kendricks 10-8. So. That should be, 215 should be another really good weight class. Should be interesting to see how these guys, shake out. You have someone like Jackson Weingart who was 7th a couple years ago, injury, and he's at 9th. You have him ranked 9th right now, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So.
And my guy, the general, told me Delonte Hinton could win at 215 and heavyweight. So he said and or. And then he said he might go 90 too. I said, man, how big is this guy if he can win heavyweight?
Yeah, I don't think he's really not any bigger.
Happy birthday, OC. Today's OC's birthday.
Yeah.
He just got back from St. Louis.
Thank you.
Big birthday. Big 17.
17th birthday, yep.
Man, you're getting old. You have a 17-year-old kid? Jeez.
Dude, look at this in the beard, man. It ain't no joke.
Oh yeah,
Thought about shape for this.
yeah. Him, I could see him go. I mean, he could probably make the cut if he wanted to, but he's always been 205, 210. Really hasn't gotten any. Surprisingly, when you start out that big, he has not gotten any bigger. He's not.
Yeah.
I don't know if he hasn't tried to get abnormally huge or what, but yeah. So it could be interesting. I mean, he definitely have fun at heavyweight. I mean, you could have one of those smaller guys that just out. I mean, he's gonna out athlete and outmove those guys at heavyweight, so that could create a lot of fits for them. So that'd be interesting. Yeah, we'll see where he goes. So, where else do we want to go? We don't have whole lot of stuff to talk about. Rankings. We got girls' rankings out
Yeah.
today, so check those out. Semi-state rankings. Anything exciting going on in the East Chicago
The East Chicago.
semi-states?
I just kind of getting the weights different. Crown Point did their wrestle off, so I think like early on, like obviously we're up here, so we talk to those guys a lot, and I'll ask Brandon Barton his thoughts on like the West Lafayette area and kind of see. And I know McCutcheon has a lot of guys in there. Try to talk to some guys out east, like in that like Mishawaka, Penn area, and now getting Rochester in. So it'll be interesting. It sounds like Horn's gonna move up to 26 from 6, which is pretty good. It's a pretty good jump. But I think he was taller, probably filled in a little bit more.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm still interested to see how kind of LC like Central's lineup's going to shake out. More than anything, you're kind of seeing some guys that are out, guys that had state experience that are not going to wrestle or not in the lineups and things like that for different reasons. Nothing like crazy. There's nothing like, oh man, whoever is getting arrested or anything like that yet. Season's young, but you start taking some of those guys out, moving guys around. But I mean, the 8 are pretty solid. I know looking at Howie's his 8's pretty good. I know he was getting. I like it when people they kind of go back at you a little bit. Like, and this happens. It's gonna happen no matter what. Like the same people that tell you rankings don't mean anything are the same people that check the rankings the most and like complain about them the most. Um, but like also the same people that won't like send anything in. Like
Yeah.
they'll wait till like the rankings come out, and even though like again, thank you to everyone that uses track wrestling or posts his results on IndianaMat. It's easy for me to go like kind of look at that, but oh man, that was a good match. Or even guys that are on the watch list, and like you kind of want to see how they're doing, so see where they kind of fit in. I know I talked on what is it, High School Wrestling Weekly with Dane and Rex. Some of the weights we go probably could be pretty deep. They're about 40 deep, I think.
Yeah.
Um, I try to keep those in order in case something does get mixed up. Like I know, like we'll say, hey, this guy's out here, numbers off, and we just kind of go, down the line. Um, but I don't like when, and this hasn't happened yet. So where people are like, oh man, you messed up, you missed this. Like, dude, how do I see that result? I'm not out at Richmond. I'm not out at, like I'm in Northwest Indiana. I'm going back to the Harvest this year. I'm gonna be on the mic for the Harvest. I guess that's some. They called me and we don't have nothing going on, so I'm gonna do that. I like doing that. So I get to see McCutcheon live and in color. I get to go see Zach Johansson and the Hobart Brickies.
The new leader of the Hobart Brickies,
Yeah.
Zach Johansson. Yeah, that should be a. Yeah, I was just gonna say that's usually what you always consider the first start of the season, and it really is. I mean, this week, last week we had a little bit. This week, kind of light. There is if you go to homepage and this week has a great tab of what events are going on this week. I am working on updating people's schedules. Um, Not where I would like to be, but a lot of them are pretty good right now. They're in pretty good spot. They're basically I copied everything from last year, moved it to the correct date, and then so not many teams really do too much changing of their schedules. So a lot of them are just confirming, and some people have actually done theirs. So check out some of the upcoming events. That's Avon Plainfield tomorrow, Warren Central, Lawrence North tomorrow. Warren Central's getting a lot of Warren Central and Lawrence North are both getting some some time in this early on. Portage and Crown Point tomorrow. I assume they are they still
Yeah,
wrestling that or
I think so. I'm not sure. I think so.
yeah,
Ooh, which freshman are we underestimating?
a ton of freshmen. Whoa, not just one
No,
or two.
no way, man. I think I get it the opposite. Well, the one guy said we like give freshmen too credit.
Yeah, yes, yes. You put a freshman above
Uh,
state placers and stuff, and then now
no. It wasn't even that. Is we put freshmen above guys that are in the ticket round.
yes, yes. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah,
I didn't see Jalen May in the lineup for Kokomo. I know I've seen Washburn down at 190. Hopefully, I don't know where he's going to be at, but that'd be good if Kokomo's at the Harvest.
yeah, that'd be good. Kokomo has some, they have Washburn and May, and I know they have some other pretty solid guys. So that's a good addition to the Harvest, and it's good to see. You know, as we always say, is it's always nice to have some common opponents in here and there, and especially somewhere like Kokomo in that area, they don't venture out of their north central area.
There's freshmen. There's freshmen that are better than guys that have medals, for sure.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, you see it every year. Like, you see guys, especially at the cadet level, you get some younger guys. You see guys, beating guys with medals.
yeah,
And I think the state's done a good job. ISSWCA has done a good job with the middle school state. So you're seeing a lot of those matches. Like, there's a lot of times where, like, if weight classes look thin, I'll look back 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and see kind of where, hey man, like, and if you look, and I was just telling my brother this. So my brother's the new youth rankings guy, and we were just kind of going over some of that stuff. And I said, like, the like 90 through like 110 area is really like kind of like really, really tough. Like, and you can go back and look and see, like, oh man, the top 5 here are all guys that have medals now.
yeah, yeah. That's always it's always fun. I love going through those brackets and seeing what they're going, who had that success, and then it's like, wow, there's some good matches in there.
Oh yeah.
And then the best
Dude,
is when you see that 90-pound, runner up. Now he's at like 165.
man, like, isn't that weird though? Like, sometimes you'll have like a 90-pound runner up that'll be like 165, and you'll have a 90-pound runner up that's like 113.
Yeah. What was it? It was Sullivan kid. Shoot, what's his name from last year?
Lane Gilbert,
Lane
man.
Gilbert. Where did his middle school? I'm gonna have to pull up his middle school bracket
I,
because
yeah, my nephew's at Hobart Middle School. He's hurt right now though. He has like a stress fracture in his knee. My brother was trying to make him fight through it. He was saying his leg hurt. They finally took him in. He had a stress fracture in his like shin. But I always tell people like go back and watch, like, especially when they're like archived on track. Like, go back and watch some of those matches. They're like really, really good. I always say that Thrine and Vargo match at Middle School State a couple of years ago was awesome. The second year holdbacks, I mean, it's difficult. I think because they're not in high school, you want to still recognize them, But it is like a weird spot, right?
yeah. So Gilbert beat Jeb Pretzel at at Middle School State 117. Gilbert wrestled 120 as a senior. Pretzel was at what,
Yep.
60?
Yeah, I believe 60.
And then Aiden Torres, who was at 145. Brevin Thrine, who as a freshman, Brevin was what, 145?
Brevin was at 45 last year. I think he's at 126 for a bunch.
Yeah. Wesley Harper, Gavin Cook from Adams Central, Nam Doan, and Ryan Taylor. Let's see who else is.
Ryan Taylor's still there, man. Ryan Taylor had a good match this weekend.
Yeah, he is.
Ryan Taylor and Temple Porter Temple.
Yeah, Mitchell Betch was in that weight class. Let's see, Anthony White. I always get White and
he was 95 last year for Crown Point, right?
This is like one of the best weight classes. Kenneth Bisping, who might be. What did you say? He might be 190 this year.
He's 190 this year. I I posted at like 75. He was kind of in between at IHPR. I think he weighed in like 84, and I thought maybe he'd go down a weight. They said nope, he's going to be up at 95 or 90. So
Yeah, yeah. Carter Richardson, who's what 57, 65. Jacob Jones. I'm just looking at some of these guys in this weight class that, yeah. Caden Brewer, who is now at 215, was at the same. He's gained 100 pounds, while Lane Gilbert has gained 3 in the same time span.
I think it's always interesting to go, and then you can see guys like really like turn that corner from there'll be guys that didn't really go on there, and then they'll just take off, like guys that just really improve, you know.
Yeah, these are always fun, especially looking at like these weight classes, these lower weight classes where these kids were maybe sixth, seventh grade, and all of a sudden now they're just absolutely huge. Sergio Lemley over Sam Goen. Lemley had
Yeah, I
a
think
good start to the week. He won a
yeah, I
couple
think
matches.
Cole Solomon is in that way too, right?
Yes, Solomon, Caden McConnell. So McConnell and Goen in the semifinals.
So like Sergio was a 32 last year, Going was a 60, McConnell was a 195, Solomon was a 38. So they kind of spread out across there.
Yeah, yeah. Gavin Davis was in there. Delaney Roman, Cameron
Who
Clark.
also got big.
Yeah, yeah. Chase Carrington. Griffin Ingles was another one that stayed as a 110. So he was what 126 last year, maybe 32.
Oh, we got
Eli.
Devin Beaver keeping us honest, bro. I got ranked twice in there.
Oh well, he's
I'll
not
fix
that
it.
good. We'll get him fixed.
I do think he's good, man. I think
Yeah,
he's really good.
yeah. So yeah, it's always fun to look at these old brackets and just see where the guys have fallen out. You know, you had Lavelle and Reinhardt in the semis at 95, Blake Wolf and Brady Ison, Gavin Whitehead. Here's some, Reinhardt and Reese Courtney. They are about 30 pounds apart now.
Yeah.
uh, Jesus, no, that's not who is somebody else. Uh, yeah, so that should be. I mean, this always man. Tanner Tishner is in at 95, same weight class as Lavelle and Reinhardt.
Like and that's kind of like what I was telling him is like those are like the real tough weights. Like right in that middle
Yeah,
is like it's now those guys might always win it, but those guys are going to be the guys that are going to be in the mix. Like, and I'm not saying like all the guys up top are always going to be bad, but like who are the heavyweights that year? I mean, that might be a good year. Like who are the like bigger guys in that?
oh jeez, I just closed it. Yeah, the heavyweights are always a. That's one I know. I was talking about a couple people. I mean, talking about Reeve Muncie, who won it um, as a middle schooler, and it was like, who else made it to state at his weight, in those weight classes?
Freeline's out for the season. Oh, that's sad, dude. I didn't know that one.
Oh,
I think he's pretty good. That
yeah.
sucks.
So at heavyweight, you had Parker Smitley from Mount Vernon, Devin Davis of Mooresville, Richie Pena of Unattached, Mason Garrison, Jordan Cox, Matthew White, Wyatt Shrake, and Robert Hall. I think
What about
Smitley is the only one that I know the name.
what's the next weight down on that? Maybe the next weight.
220. You had Aaron Butts, Hayden Luter. He was, I think he's
Yeah,
pretty solid.
I think
Joel
he's at.
Ashton Hartwell. Ashton Hartwell there. I mean, he was a state qualifier. Owen Green, Jacob Johnson was a state placer. Dawson Nowoski, and then Peyton Kendall, who's a couple times state qualifier.
Well,
Uh,
wait, is Chris Bond going, man? That's a big order. 2 hot dogs, fries, iced tea. My daughter likes ketchup on her hot dogs too, man.
oh, man, you guys are gonna get banned. You guys can't go to Chicago like that.
I know. She likes ketchup and relish, man.
Yeah.
It's her thing.
So, 195. You had Antov Jordan, and that is about
Sounds
the
like
only person I. There's Ashton Shooter from Jasper. Everyone else, I do not recognize any of them. And Leighton Jones was only at 175 that year.
Yeah, so I think like that's always like a good one. And especially with the preseason stuff this year, I thought we did like a nice Chicago hot dogs are trash. Dang
Oh
man, I
man.
like Chicago dogs. I had to like find the history about it, like of why they did it like that. Like it was like during the Depression, they added all that stuff on, so like and they make it like a full meal. But like this year was a really cool year where like the 1A, 2A. So like I really looked at that pretty hard. I tried to get a lot of those 1A, 2A, especially the guys that were the champs in there, and just kind of get them in the mix. And obviously like freshman, sophomore is a big one, and then the guys from the youth board that you think are going to make impact, and it's always tough, man, because you do have guys that are going to go out of state. Um, do they put blue cheese on their hot dogs in South Bend?
Don't put blue cheese on anything.
Um, but they so I seen I think that Mount Carmel duel and Crown Point duel will be really good,
Oh
just
yeah.
because you have so many Indiana guys there, but you see a guy like Evan Stanley, who you knew it was going to be an impact guy in Indiana, and then now he's going to be an impact guy in Illinois. He's in the same weight as like Davino, which would be tough. Ben Davino's pretty good.
The Domer dog in Indy has blue cheese on it. That's ridiculous. Ugh, I don't think I want blue cheese on
I'll try it. But
So, we definitely go through a lot of different places to look at. IPO. You look at freshman, sophomore. That's starting to become a big one, and especially that's one that kind of just like middle school state um, where you can go and you're looking through some guys to fill in the rankings, but also kind of seeing some of the guys that placed there and how they're doing. You know, in a year or two later, and they're doing pretty good. And that's a good
oh yeah,
indicator. And that one's probably a better indicator for upper weights more than anything because you're going to have a lot of freshmen, sophomores that are getting beat up by those older guys, and you're like, man, this guy's going to really make it. This guy could really break through and make his way to state and stuff. So, and they a lot more, especially higher weights. It's a lot easier to that helps out probably a lot more than middle school state, obviously. So
yeah. I think especially at the heavier weights, like you said, like at the freshman sophomore level, those are the guys that are always going to be like right in the mix. And then you have some guys that are backups that are in there. We talked about it on the Dane and Rex show a little bit. Like I don't get WZBD. Is that what it is? What is it?
yeah, WZBD.
Sounds good, man. Uh, in the region, we don't get that station. Um, but Pat Culp was on before I was, and I went back and listened to it. Sounds like they're going to try to add like a real JV state in there, which I think will be really, I mean, JV varsity too, whatever you want to call it. But I think that'd be a really cool event for those guys and some girls, obviously. But to get in the mix and just kind of see where they fall, because there is some teams that are incredibly deep at some weights where it gives them something to continue to like compete for and keep getting better.
Yeah, they. I know she was talking to me a little bit about it and asking for ideas and stuff, and I was like, it can be definitely be done, and they're going to have 8-ish like regional events, and then they're going to have a finals. I assume top 4-ish are going to qualify. So I think that'll be real cool to see how it goes. I know. I think a lot of teams will cling on to that. It's a good way to keep it always seems that it's harder to find JV events towards the end of the year, and now you're going to have something to keep those guys interested in the the end of the season and keep them hungry and stuff like that. So I know they've at Warren they've had the duels. That's always kind of hard to get a full team at that time, and not everyone has a full dual team uh, for JV. So I think
Yeah.
this will be a little bit better, and maybe you're going to see some teams that throw some pretty good kids out there. Like, hey, these guys are going to come through and going to be a precursor to probably freshman sophomore, I assume.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like because there is some teams I know like obviously up here like teams like Hobart has a ton of guys in their room. I know they have some guys up top where they're gonna kind of be jammed where they can't move around as much. Same thing, Crown Point has a lot of guys. I think at the the Roland Beckham. I believe that some of the B teams went. Like you didn't see as many like Chestertown. I don't know if that was their B team or they just didn't take some of their starters or LC the same way. But they had full teams going there.
Hmm.
And I think getting those guys matches and giving them something to work for, I think would be really good. We had a new wrestler from the Logansport Regional enter the rankings,
Yeah, we have.
which kind of looking at results, and it was like, oh, this guy looks like he's pretty good. We were kind of talking, and he was pretty good. He has a medal as a move-in from out of state.
Yeah, that. Which one? Who was that? I forget. Is that Harrison?
See, yeah, Isaac Sink, I believe.
Yep, Isaac Sinks. Is it Sinks? Sinks, yes, from Harrison. He is a Kansas State placer, I believe. So yeah, that was I was Mike did the rankings and I put in new profiles for people and I'm like, is this the guy we're looking at? I was like trying to find a grade on him and Mike's like, I believe so, and so yeah, he's placed a couple times, verified on Instagram, found his Instagram, like, yep, that's him. So he's looks like he's pretty solid, and that's going to be a good addition for Harrison, and right up there in the upper weight, he'll have Ethan Pop to wrestle around with, so that'll be two good practice partners and able to you know get make each other better there. So that should make that'll be a tough possible regional champ to draw into out of that semi-state. You're gonna
I'm
have
accusing Harrison of recruiting now.
yes, the Kansas connection.
Well, there was another kid from that's like at Purdue right now. We kind of were wondering if he was going to be in Indiana.
Yeah.
Like he's a Purdue commit, right?
Yes. I can't even think of his name offhand. But yeah, he
Where he was a three-time Missouri champ,
yeah,
and he like represented Indiana. But according to the Purdue coaches, he's not going to be wrestling this year.
correct. He is going to finish his education coats. Yep. Like had it before I could find it. Yeah. So he yeah, he's pretty good wrestler, so that's going to be interesting. Yeah, we saw he represented Indiana at Fargo, so that kind of threw us for a little bit of a loop. You know, you're seeing things like that, and then obviously having to dig deep and asking a few people to, you know, okay, what's going on with this guy? And luckily, we have enough sources in different places that kind of give us the lowdown on what's going on. We only tell you guys about half the story.
Oh, dude, like we do like a 10 minute, like we kind of did it off the air a little bit, just kind of some of the rumors and stuff that you hear. We try not to like push it or like how it goes or like transfers or where people are thinking about going and things like that. But man, there's a lot of that for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. We always tease that we should we should charge for the pre-show about $50 a show.
Man, it only like if we really could keep it like, but I think we'd heard a lot. Like I think there'd be a lot more. Like it would probably hold back, right?
Yeah, yes, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's you hear things and you're like, well, I wonder how if this has legs, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So it's better to just not talk about it. So
Yeah, a lot more cussing, obviously.
yes, a lot more ranting. Um, I was gonna say go back to the state rankings and Brownsburg on the power poll, which we do based on rankings. If the rankings are perfect and they're not, and they also don't, the rankings do not factor in any regional draws or potential, ticket round matches, things like that.
Injuries, yeah.
Brownsburg has a 7 point lead over Crown Point, so that's going to be interesting. Center Grove's a little bit further back, but as we can tell from last year, they turned it on at state and wrestled way. They turned a couple of fours into twos from
Yeah, they
semi-state.
have. Yeah, McConnell and Jaeger
Yeah,
were fours the twos. Like really good coaching staff. Really excited. Like those guys are really invested. So
yeah. So
it's always really cool to see.
yeah,
It'll be interesting. I heard one Brownsburg might be getting a pretty good guy back on the rumor mill, and a really good Center Grove guy might be out for the year. So hopefully that's not true for the Center Grove guy, and we always want more good guys in the state.
Yep. Yeah, we don't like because we've had a couple. We had Rojas
Yep,
from
Rojas
Brownsburg
left.
is at Wyoming Seminary, and then who's the Avon kid I, that went to Lake Highland Prep,
Yeah,
freshman.
his brothers wrestled. I'm sure we'll get it in one second.
Yes, that was an interesting one, and obviously VZ's out in Colorado, so we have some uh, pretty good wrestlers. Bo,
Yeah,
Bo,
Lucas Bow. Yeah,
Bo.
he's really good.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, I've
really
heard
really
some
good.
real good. I heard some coaches were like, well, some coaches from around the greater Avon Plainfield area were like, yeah, I'm kind of glad he's out of there because he'd beat my guy, you know. Yeah,
Yeah, so Indiana's kind of losing some really like top end talent. Like I know we kind of talked about Mount Carmel a little bit. I know they have a handful. Mount Carmel probably
yeah,
has.
we're not even talking about guys that go into Mount Carmel, which is right across the border. So yeah,
Yep,
yep, and yep, and Tolbert
Tolbert
is
is
gone.
in Texas.
So all his exes live in Texas. uh, so yeah, Tolbert's gone. I thought there was another. Who else did we?
Yeah, Brother Myers.
Yeah,
Did you say he moved?
Braylon Meyer from DeKalb is in Florida. So yeah, there's some. It's been interesting. That it seemed almost a little bit more this year when you can, when you when our borders are a little bit more open and you can get to a little bit better events now. I thought that might keep people from leaving, but obviously it hasn't. Um,
I mean, and some of those are really tough. I mean, like
yeah,
some of them are family choices, but like I mean, seminary, like Highland Prep, those are pretty good programs. Mount Carmel's a good program,
yeah,
especially when a lot of those guys wrestle with Alex.
mhm,
You know,
yeah, yeah. That's yeah. The Lakeland Highland Prep that'd be interesting, kind of knowing a little bit more of the details on because I, they're kind of I don't think they're really a prep school, but I think they are in preps now. They kind of made a big um, I think they made a big push for that, and so. But yeah, I think I'll go to Florida. I'm not gonna, go to Florida.
during the winter, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, yes. So yeah, should be some. That's some interesting guys. I mean, guys that are nationally ranked or would be. I know Bo, like I said, was pretty highly touted from a few people, and I mean, they're not totally upset that he left because he'd make a pretty big impact, especially at what like 150, 157. So yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. What events are going on this week? We were just talking about that. You got Greenfield Central,
Thanksgiving.
Pendleton Heights.
I thought we were just talking about events in our life.
Oh, no.
The happiest and unhappiest time of the year for
Yes.
wrestling.
The
Happiest for me now, but
the
unhappy.
Edgewood Invite has quite a few teams. You'll see Cascade, Floyd Central, Indian Creek. Indian Creek has a pretty solid team. Owen Valley, Seymour, Terre Haute. No, Terre Haute North one. I think they're the ones a little bit better. Red Hawk, Super Duel, Belmont, Chesterton, East Side, John Glenn. Glenn has some good kids.
I think
Lakeland.
South, but the South is the better of the two.
Yeah. Okay. And then you got Munster, South Bend Riley, West Noble, Goshen, Angola, Garrett's B team will be there. Homestead will have Central Noble. They have a really sneaky good team. Central Noble has some pretty good young guys in there.
Yeah.
Columbia City. Let's see, Homestead, Northridge, Duane.
Greenfield Central with the win over Delta this week too.
Yeah, who just did?
Greenfield
Oh,
Central.
Greenfield Central. Yeah, so that's good for them. You got DeKalb and Homestead. That should be a good one. Parameridian's B team will be there. Um,
I think it was South. My fault.
so
You were
that's
right, friend.
Wawasee and Belmont wrestled. Belmont won pretty handily. Sounds like there was a wrestler injured. Sounds like he will recover, which is kind of scary. That kind of stuff's real scary.
Any injury is scary, especially like early on.
Yeah, and then you got the big gobbler. That's a pretty cool event. I think they kind of just pull people together and let them wrestle. So that should be. There's some gonna be some B team guys like Brownsburg, Center Grove should be there. So there'll be some good teams there, and they have the Gobbler boys and girls event. Doesn't look like I think that's the only girls event going on this weekend, at least per what I have. So some good wrestling. Obviously, it's a little bit slower over Thanksgiving, and next week, so that'll be fun.
Man, I was thinking this the other day. For teams that like can't fill like sectional brackets, you hate to see like regionals with like forfeits in them. Like, what if you started adding B guys into there? Like, they didn't like if you declared before that they can't score points for your team. Wouldn't you rather have those weight classes full?
Yes, I think they should. Honestly, they should allow you to have 14 entries and up to two in a weight class. I know we were discussing this on the board uh, this spring, and I think that would be absolutely great for those for teams. I don't know. I think you get a lot less forfeits at regional. I don't know if you could totally eliminate them, especially because they're at 106 and 113, and if if only three teams fill those anyway, the likelihood of those three teams having another one is low. But heck, if I see that, if I'm a coach and and I have that opportunity, I'm like, man, I can get this other kid to regional. That's pretty good for to keep him on the team and keep him interested. I think that'd be a great idea. That's one of my things I have kind of uh, talked to a couple people about. I don't know if they have taken it to the higher levels yet, but I think that's a great thing for them. So we filled all 14.
Yeah,
You could be like NAI. You could have seven. You could fill seven weight classes with two guys. I wouldn't. I mean, that's up to you. I guess as a coach, I wouldn't. As someone, I think that'd make it too complicated. Like, well, you have a 140. You have two 144s, and you don't have a 165 pounder. You have to bump him up to 165. No, that would be too complicated, and I don't. I wouldn't like that. But and I think you, as a coach, I think it'd be kind of fun to say, man, you know, we have a backup at 132 that's pretty darn good. If we put him in the lineup, he's probably a semi-state level kid. He's been in the room for 2 or 3 years, and maybe our 113 is a freshman that isn't very good. And I mean, it's a tough decision as a coach, but you get to put the senior in there that's put his time in and is
yeah,
pretty darn good.
yeah. I think yeah, like you said, like it keeps people interested. I think like more than anything, as you look at someone like the because I try to go back through and like look at the sectionals and stuff, especially when you're looking at teams like rosters, and this is more at the semi-state level because you want to kind of have like a pull from a bigger pool, and you see like ways where you have five guys in the sectional.
Mm-hmm.
So you went like everyone's getting a forfeits or regional, and then you get one match. Like why don't you just say, hey, like if you do your seating meeting on Wednesday, say, hey, like we're only gonna have five. If you have extra guys, then we can put them in, but they're undeclared like point scorers. Like, and because I don't think it'd be fair. Like if we all got two guys every weight, like then they go that way. But I think it'd be really cool to just get those guys matches.
Yeah.
And like just keep the bracket like. Well, some of the, like, is there weights like like Brownsburg, Tommy Gibbs probably in the mix. He's probably a semi-state level guy, I think at the least. That's a really tough regional. I don't think that one's a bad one because those guys are. I'm guessing those are pretty full brackets.
Yes.
But I think some of the sectionals that are a little bit down attendance wise, but I think that would be really really cool.
Yeah, I think it would be. And I think it'd be good for the smaller schools that if you're able to have two in a weight class, and there's a lot of smaller schools that have 10, 16 kids, and but they have 4 or 5 JV guys, they can only fill 10 or 11 weight classes. And there's some guys that aren't getting matches. It's a great way to dangle that carrot. Say, hey, you're not getting a whole lot of matches, but we are going to use you at sectional because you're one of our top 14 guys, and we only have 12 guys, so you're going to get in that sectional. Okay,
Yeah,
so hang on. You know, do they get one or two matches? That it is what it is, but at the same time, that keeps that guy hungry to wrestle again and keeps him in
yeah.
the sport longer, and he doesn't quit next year because he got 6 matches.
And I think like at the upper weights, I know like also like last week on the high school wrestling. I don't know the name of the funeral home that sponsors the Hershey Haggard and
Zelt,
I was
Zelt,
yeah,
yeah,
what I was just one. But AJ Bradley, one of my favorite people in the wrestling community, was on also, and I know that he said like that they have a lot of heavyweights in their room. They have a lot of kids, but a lot of them are like heavier weights, and there's just not like a lot of mixing and matching there. Center Grove's going to run into that. They have two really good heavyweights.
yeah,
I think that's unfair, and obviously there's nothing we can do about it this year. But it's unfair that one of those guys doesn't get to wrestle just because the way the weights fall out and their team is.
yeah.
Both of those guys are state qualifiers from a year ago. They're probably got to wrestle off for a spot, unless I don't know what Nate Johnson is weight wise, unless he's close to 215, and they just kind of go everyone down.
Yeah, two seniors battling out for
I,
two
and I,
senior state qualifiers are likely. I mean, even if McConnell's supposed to be at, I think a lot of people are saying he's at 215 anyway. So Johnson, I don't know. I mean, he was a big 220 last year. I don't think the
yeah,
215 was going to be exactly his favorite thing to do. So, yeah, that's going to be a tough thing to do. Um, and
I,
getting those guys, especially bigger guys. I mean, people grow, and I think that you could. It'd be interesting to see what if someone like Swain, would he put both Shot and not Johnson in the bracket, and maybe I don't know where they have a weak link, but you know do they take out their 106 pounder and say, hey, we're gonna run it with our
I
two
think
heavyweights.
I think that part of it's hard. I mean, I guess like the hard part would be like if you let's say it's an 8-man bracket and like you're pulling like other varsity wrestlers. I mean, that's a little tough. Like I think more than anything, I want to see like full brackets. But
Yeah,
it'd be tough to say like, okay, who gets to represent, right?
yeah, yeah,
If we said like, hey, we have at 106, we have 4 open slots, 5 teams are represented or something, and then we need to fill the other 3, and they're like, yeah, like how do you choose that? But I think it'd be interesting, and like I said, like it just gets more people wrestling, which I think is a good thing.
yep, definitely. There's like you said, there's open spots, and more kids wrestling at sectional isn't going to hurt anything. Having those fuller brackets won't hurt anything. Need a 240. I don't think we need a 240. I think we have.
I,
I,
that's yeah, it's a huge jump, like 215. I mean, the jumps up top, I like looking at it are tough, right?
yeah,
Like 215, 285, you're giving up, weight. 90, you're losing, taking it back 5, you lose that whole 180 weight. It's interesting how it's broke down.
yeah. I don't think the 285. I don't think a 240 would. I think that'd be really difficult to fill. That's my. And it's already heavyweights always are hard to fill anyway, and you never know if you're going to fill them because usually kids grow into those weight classes. They aren't born that big. So used to be unlimited. You're old, Fargo,
Uh,
so it's never
I
unlimited when
think
I wrestled. That's all I gotta say. I'm not that old.
I think I heard another like I guess like on the other side. I heard that the IHSAA, and this is I mean obviously it's a rumor. I haven't even done any research on this. 0%. And I don't know if I asked you. Like someone had texted me and said is they're gonna do like a one-time like transfer thing next year. Like you could transfer one school without like repercussions.
I haven't heard
Because right now
anything.
it's like heavily like weighted on like the ads, I believe.
Yeah,
Like if the ad from the opposing school like objects it, then you obviously that's the kind of the thing. And you see like the transfer numbers. I think it's like almost like 80% approval.
yeah, yeah. You want to know the transfers? I'm gonna tell you right. The girls. You think the boys are bad? These girls, I have probably changed 10, 15 girls that are in the rankings. They're schools.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, and and I don't know if I I don't
What do you think,
think it's
recruiting?
that. I don't know if it's recruiting. I don't know what it is, but it's like right like I've gotten so many of them like, oh yeah, she's at, so and I'm like, is this the same girl? She's at this school or that school. So yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be yeah, it'll be interesting.
We uh we got transfer repercussions for OC. She got eliminated eligibility from Lowell to Andrean, public to private school. And we also had another girl transfer from Lowell to Andrean with no repercussions. So which is weird.
Yeah,
But they said that because we didn't sell our house. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's not really a school district for Andrean.
third college wrestling. Yeah, I think they have like a 225 or something, if I'm not mistaken, in the NCWA is what they have at in that division. But yeah, uh, I'm sure the IHSAA is trying to curb, or at least because recruiting, or I mean, it's not transferring is kind of has gotten worse and worse, and I think they're trying a way to not have as much paperwork. I guess is probably the easiest thing. But yeah, it's such a weird thing to try to regulate. Especially with a lot of schools being open enrollment. I don't know how it is around you. I know other than pretty much Homestead and Carroll, who are at like who get like I guess they get like a waiver from open enrollment because of capacity. I think if you're at a certain number per capacity, you can have a closed district. But I'm sure it's easy to, um, yeah, yep,
Uh,
yeah. That's
yeah, I
it's
think
a
it's.
weird thing. I don't know I don't know how you prevent the illegal recruiting, but at the same time, you're never going to. No matter what the rule is, people are gonna get around it.
Yeah, and I don't think like, and I don't know. I didn't know that many girls were transferring. I have no clue, like for wrestling. But
Oh, they are.
but I did go to a girls' meeting. It was really good. I was There's a lot of people, a lot of excitement there. How was yours? You did some broadcasting
Yeah,
in a
I
right?
the Columbia City and Jay County match. Got to be on the radio with Dane, and it was good. A lot of
Mallory,
enthusiasm, big crowd. I say,
Mallory
obviously,
Winter did a good job. She's a good softball player.
yeah, yes, she did. She's pretty tough. She had a couple of double legs right into a half and didn't mess around. She wasn't getting paid by the hour. So, uh, yeah,
It's not. Yeah, like I don't know. Like the IHSA probably can't hold your eligibility for girls wrestling, right? My girls don't wrestle.
they it's well, they're sanctioned. I mean, they're saying they can't, but I don't know what. So that's an interesting one because are the girls' events considered varsity events?
I believe they are because someone told me that one of the girls didn't wrestle because they didn't want to use their varsity weigh-ins.
It's not varsity or JV or like the weigh-ins, like what they say. There's no varsity it's you just
Yeah.
get 18, I guess, weigh-in points or event points per kid. You can weigh in 100 times. They people get it a little bit mixed up. You can weigh in 100 times during the season. It's when you actually step on the mat or actually technically get put in the book is when that counts as an event for you, technically, or at least when you step on the mat. So when you step on the mat, so if you so if we take a JV guy to a super duel, take a couple backups just because we want to make sure we have backups there, and JV's going off to a different event. You take a couple backups there, and you get them one match that uses two of their event points, just one match, even though a dual meet would only be worth one. So yeah, the girl events are just like JV events. If you have a kid that's JV and you wrestle in a JV tournament, that's 2 points. So the girls are that counts on their points too. So I don't know what the IHSA because yeah, that's interesting. That is a very interesting one because they don't. I don't know if it's considered a varsity level event because if it is, then if you have limited eligibility, you can't. You're not supposed to wrestle in a varsity event. So that's a good one. That's a real good one. All they could really do is not let them. If a girl has limited eligibility, I know they couldn't wrestle in the boys varsity event. That's all I would know. I don't know what the girls are considered right now as far as if that's considered a varsity event, then they couldn't. But
I know, like
if
ours was weird. So like, and the people from the IHSA were great. They're
yeah,
like, literally, there's nothing we can do. Like, the opposing school is not going to release it. But like, ours was obviously like softball related. So, um, and they were like, yeah, she could play any other sport she wants to, full eligibility. I'm like, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard.
that's that's weird. Yeah, but yeah, yeah, that's a I don't know. That's a good one. I would have to do some research. Ask somebody. Maybe I'll text an AD friend of mine and see what they say. What that would be because if yeah,
I know. They it was a frustrating process, and it was one of those things like, are you for real? Is this like a for real thing? Like, you didn't sell your house. It's like, bro, I just built the house in Lowell. Like, there's no like school district.
yeah,
Like, I understand if we're like going to Crown Point, like then we'd have to sell our house, but like we're not doing that.
yeah, yeah. That the like
We
Margot
did it for the
said.
Lord, man. We're at Catholic high school now.
Yeah, like Margot said, that his son wasn't eligible until they got their house sold, which that's really weird. Even though they were living in South Bend or Penn area, wherever it is.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's a.
it's
I remember his first matches. They were at Carroll. I remember that. It's like I heard about this
uh,
kid and what's he doing here? I thought he was ineligible.
I think, and I just think it's like a very like crazy like thing. Like, I think you make the best choice for your kid, man. That's what you feel or not. Um, I don't understand like the part of it that's like, well, we need to like regulate it. Like, who cares?
It's happening whether you try to regulate it or not. That's the
Yeah, like
and
I think that's like the biggest thing is like I always be on that. Like, I'm not like worried about it. Like, wherever you want to be. And I know talking to some coaches that had guys leave, like not softball but wrestling. They're like, yeah, like I'd rather have the guys that want to be here.
mhm. Yeah, they
And
yeah, I don't people move for school district. I mean, we moved into a school district because it was a better school district for our kids. Uh, Athletics was not on the horizon by any means. So you want to make it as good for you make it as easy for your kid. Not easy, but you want to make it you give your kids good opportunities and stuff. And if you have the resources to take your kid to a different school and be able to drive her to or have her drive whatever it is to school every day,
yeah,
that's I mean that's a pretty big commitment. I know I've heard of some kids that were driving from different districts. They were trying to had some issues because their grandpa or whatever was the one driving them was having some health issues, and now they end up having to come back to their home school, and then they got the HSA was blocking their transfer where their old school really was, and it's like his ride there you know is not there anymore. So
yeah,
yeah, uh, it's an
yeah. Like
interesting thing. So
it's. I mean, the travel, like the whole like IHSA thing, and like obviously when we were starting to go through, you and I were texting, and I know they got some backlash from football, and it sounded like I mean part of that like whole thing, but like you said, like if people are gonna transfer, they're gonna find ways to transfer no matter what.
yeah, yeah, there
Like,
are ways around it enough. And Indiana, I don't know if they have a. I think they're fairly relaxed with their transfer rules.
Yeah, well, like I think if you look at the data, I want to believe it's like I think it's like 86% of the people that transfer are granted full eligibility,
Yeah, yeah,
and then I think it's like an 8% limited, and then the rest is zero.
yeah. Just crazy, like you said, like that's like it's like 95% are full eligibility, and I've been through it a couple times and saw some of the I've read some of the cases for the DOE, and that if it goes to the DOE, they give you all the details, and found some interesting ones about some people that were getting blocked and they ended up getting it through and everything. So it's I don't know. You're not going to stop people from transferring. I don't know. The rules are not that strict, but they will get it. They will get a couple people here and there, and that's basically what it is. So I mean, I could pull up the percentages. They have them in there.
Yeah,
Minutes every
I mean,
every year or everything.
yeah,
Every
it's part of like the like I think it's part of the spring like minutes or something.
yeah, yeah. So it's a it. You're not gonna stop it. That's the thing. You can only hope that it's. Let's see. It is 92% have full eligibility. 7% have limited, and 0.83% have were full ineligible. Um, so it's there were 153 that were limited and 18 that were fully ineligible out of 2,000, just under 2,200. So 150. It'd be interesting to hear which hear about those 171 that were not full eligible. I'd like to see. It'd be interesting. There's actually the foreign exchange students. They had 425 that applied for eligibility, and 19 were limited, and three were ineligible. So who's trying to recruit some Russians? I want to know.
Ed,
Ed,
Carmel.
yeah, Ed's trying to. Didn't he? He's had a couple like really Russian dudes. Like, where'd he come from?
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, he has some names that are tough to say.
yeah. So yeah, that'd be yeah. It'd be interesting to hear what caused those ones to be limited or fully ineligible.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's all sports, right?
yes, yep, all sports from June 1st through October 27th. So basically, there's been just under 2,200 transfers, um, and yeah, so that'd be it'd be interesting to see what those why they got dinged. So the older wrestlers, nice. So anyway, so we don't have a lot of wrestling to talk about yet.
What was the score of Lowell and Griffith tonight? I know they wrestled tonight. It was like Lowell's alumni night. I see Kevin's in here.
Well, Griffith. Let's see. Either of them on track.
I did not see them on track.
Portage is, so that's good.
Shout
Portage.
out to Coach Acuna, man. Put it on track, got all the results in.
Yeah. So yeah. Not a lot of wrestling going on this week or this past week, but it's gonna start ramping up. Got some rankings updates. I know if you have information, send it to Mike, or there's a nice sticky post on the website on the forum of where to what ranking person you want to need to talk to. So if you have anything, so anyway, anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so. I feel like there was something I was missing.
So,
Can't think of it right now.
well, everyone have a good Thanksgiving. If you need to make weight Saturday, don't eat too much. If not, eat and enjoy.
Man, that's a tough one. Did you did you guys have to wrestle the weekend of Thanksgiving?
Yes,
I didn't do that.
yes, that was and oh man, you're gonna get me on a tangent. It was the and it was a I think we had four matches, and they're all conference matches. So you had Prairie Heights, who was always pretty good. Cherubusco, that was pretty solid. Garrett wasn't very good, so that's not even put them in the mix. And then you had Fairfield and Angola and Garrett. So Angola always would have some pretty good guys. So you're wrestling. Number one, it's probably the first time you're making weight. So you're making first time you're making weight is the first is 2 days after Thanksgiving, and you're wrestling four fairly significant matches for your conference tournament. And it's like, oh,
Yeah,
and your in our
and
conference
at least
tournament was, the conference championship was almost decided there because you had quite a few good teams there.
I think the Vapo Super Bowl used to be this weekend.
Mm.
I don't know if they still do it, but it was pretty tough back in the day. Maybe Coach Cook can get it going at Wheeler again.
Yeah,
It's kind of a Vapo area.
yeah, I
He
heard that
said
one.
everyone was telling me he looks weird in green. I said, brother, I remember you in green.
Yeah, yeah, they that used to be a yeah, that used to be a pretty tough tournament, especially early on. So yeah, that should be it'd be interesting to see what. There's nothing too big. I mean, we used to have the War on the Wabash is not anymore. That used to have some pretty good. Uh,
Yeah, that was a 2 day, like 10 team thing too. Prairie Heights was there,
yeah,
right?
yeah, Prairie Heights was there. Columbia City would be there. I know it'd be a good way to, you know, I don't know how wrestling 10 matches that week would. I can't imagine that, but I'm not going to. I I never, early on that early when you're a little bit out of shape, you don't want to, get injuries and stuff. You want to you don't want to ease into it, but you're not gonna go 10 matches right away. So, but yeah, we'll be next week's probably one of the big weeks of that's coming up as far as the first real week of everyone. Most of the teams putting out uh, some good events. Yeah, Zionsville, Noblesville, Terre Haute South, and Owen Valley should be a good one. I think Owen Valley still has a pretty good team. Perry and Franklin, that should be a good one. Uh, Eastside and Bluff,
Tante Cup, man.
yeah, Eastside and Bluffton, Jay County, Centerville, Mechanical and Oak Hill. I think Mechanical is at Team State, I believe. I don't think I don't know if Oak Hill is though. Let's see. I did update that. Is Oak Hill at Team State? No, they are not. So that could be a big Team State implications. Hamilton Southeastern, Avon, South Adams, Cowan. That should number 5 and 6 in 1A. Let's see. New Pal, Center Grove. That should be some good matches there. Broncoli and Greenwood, Western, Northwestern, Garrett and DeKalb. That DeKalb's at 3. Yeah, the 3A Team State. Garrett's not in at Team State yet. Carmel, Mount Vernon, Brownsburg, Westfield. So yeah, there's going to be some good matches next week. Man, there's a lot of pretty much every ranked team's going to be wrestling. So that should be interesting to see. So that next week's our real big first week of wrestling. So uh, enjoy it. Enjoy a little bit of a slow start to the season because it's going to get pretty hot and heavy pretty quickly here. So
What's your favorite Thanksgiving side?
sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes? Okay.
I love sweet potatoes. That's my.
I like stuffing.
Yeah, I like the stuffing too. Yeah, it's yes. I there's really not much. No cranberry sauce. That's
I don't do
you know,
cranberry sauce either.
green
I
bean
felt like I
casserole.
always did it as a kid. You don't do green bean casserole?
No, I like green bean casserole.
Oh, same.
No mushrooms. Hold the mushrooms.
I like the corn casserole. I like
Oh yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
I
That's a
always felt like I was getting left behind on the cranberry sauce that comes out of a can. Like when I was a kid, like I always seen it on TV, and then I got it one time when I was older. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and now we hated it. No one ate it.
nice. Yeah. So yeah, that should yeah. Uh, yeah. It's
That
gonna
should have
be
been the real ranking. We should have held donuts for next week. We should have did the real like Thanksgiving rankings.
yeah. We'll have to start a topic on we're gonna need some pictures, and if you need to send them to us also, send us the donuts if we have not had them. So if you haven't had parlor donuts,
No, I'm gonna go get. You know, what, I'm gonna go get them. I'm gonna get them Wednesday. I'm gonna take half day at work. I'm gonna stop and get some parlor donuts, bring it home because the girls are off of school. Short week, so I'll have a review next week.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Rocco was asking about those the other day. Let's get some powdered donuts. I'm like, yes, but no. Yeah. So yeah.
Whenever we go on these like softball trips, and dude, we're gone all the time. I'm sure it's the same as wrestling. And I always try to find like stuff off the like trail to go eat wherever we're at. I want to go eat something that I don't have around here.
Yeah.
So they always one of the moms always like thinks it's really funny. She likes to hear these stories. When we went to S&T the first time I didn't go this past time. We went to like some roadkill barbecue place, and it was like up in the mountains. We didn't have cell phone service. We pulled in this place, and Kim's like, "This is how people get killed." But it was good. It was decent.
There's a place in Atlanta, downtown Atlanta. I think the area is a little bit better now. The first time I went with my work, it's called Daddy D's Barbecue. This place looks the walls are held up with the smoke and everything from them barbecuing stuff. Best barbecue ever. Place looks like it's a
Man,
hole in the wall. I should bring up a picture of it.
I wonder. I wonder if Coach Watkins ended up finding someone to fill in for the Trikoff. Um, but if you are, and you guys want to go, and you're gonna go get some Big Daddy's barbecue, it's at the flea market, but it's on the other end. It's not in the flea market. There's a huge flea market there on the side. He was like the Hood barbecue winner, Steve Harvey's Hood Award or something. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
He's a big dude.
this place was on. They were about ready to close, and the during the Olympics, uh, I'm looking for pictures. Some reporters were there just doing work and stuff, and the one like local guy's like, "Man, this is like some really good stuff." He's like, "You mind if I write an article on it?" And like, "Oh, sure, whatever." Ends up, they have it took off, and now it's like really popular. Okay, now I will. I'll show you the picture of this place. Let's see where I want add monitor. No, there we go. We don't have
It looks a little rough. Looks a little rough. Looks like they got some barbecue there.
that is Daddy D's. If you're in Atlanta, go there. I will. I highly recommend it.
I'm gonna drive through Atlanta probably this summer. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, go
Big
there.
Daddy, if you go to the Trikoff, there'll be 16 teams there. Go a little bit further east, down all the way to Grand Street. If you go to Grand Street, you're too far. You don't want to get lost down there in Glen Park. Glen Park's not a great area, but they're good people. It's like right on like Cleveland. You go get Big Daddy's Barbecue, man. They were the number one in the neighborhood award by Steve Harvey in 2010, nominated in 2011 and 12 and 13.
Not bad.
So
Yep.
pretty decent, pretty decent.
So, do you think you could rank food places better than wrestlers?
In the state or like in the semi-state?
Uh, semi. Let's go semi-state place. Your
Man, it's tough, man. You'd have to like do like different bracket breakdowns of like types of food. But man, I bet I could. I bet I could, man. Pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Like whenever I go somewhere, I always like when we were on vacation. So I don't want to go to Chick-fil-A. I have it here.
Man, you know, so you got to
If I can get it at home, I don't want to eat there. You know.
me either. So it's become like an ongoing joke on our team that I always try to go somewhere like crazy. Like one time I ended up eating breakfast like at an airport like hangar like place. It was weird. Kim likes to make fun of me. So
So
sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss.
yeah. So well, tonight was more probably food talk than it was wrestling talk, but hey,
It's a miss in
we're
there.
talking. So we'll be back next week. And speaking of food, and I said this start, we're probably gonna have someone that likes food too. Probably give us a good rundown on anything good to eat in Evansville, from what I've heard. Just as a heads
Man,
up. So word on the street is he will be on the show. We were last minute seeing if he was going to try to be able to get on tonight. couldn't pull the strings, but we'll have them next week, so that'll be a lot of fun. Episode 159, and we're gonna talk some wrestling and some food. So, and maybe food for Evansville. Maybe we're gonna have a social Thursday night on the Grilla.
So
Well, not on the Grilla.
that'd be awesome, man. We're getting some game ideas for some merchandise, maybe.
Yeah,
Make it happen.
and we are honestly, before I forget, we will be hitting birthday number 15 in just about 12 days
Nice.
for the website. So kind of crazy. 15 years.
That-
That's a sophomore in high school for some people.
Best 15 years in Indiana wrestling.
Yes.
Allegedly. Debatable.
Yes. Well, I always, early on it was like, okay, so what, the high school kids and stuff, how long have they how long have they been alive compared to IndianaMat? Would they know the other website? And now they don't. Now they're the high school kids, unless they're 25, have probably no clue what Indiana wrestling was before that. So now it's pretty neat to see. So yeah, we are approaching number 15. So be looking for some articles coming out. We got some good ideas, so we're going to start sending those out and getting some contact numbers. So if you have any ideas, send them to me, and I'll put them on the list. Whether we get to them or not, we'll try. And I don't know, anything else?
No, that's all I got, my man.
Okay, we will see you guys next Monday.